If you think winning over a woman means being the most handsome, the richest, or the nicest guy, I need to tell you a truth that might change everything. Most men spend their lives trying to impress women the wrong way, and that's exactly why they get ignored. But there's a psychological detail that few people know about, and it makes any woman feel genuine attraction without you having to put in extra effort. Want to know what it is? Stick with me, because what I'm about to reveal could transform the way you approach relationships. Have you ever noticed that some guys catch women's attention without even seeming to try, while others do everything they can and still get ignored? The other day, a friend of mine said something that stuck with me. I do everything for her. I'm kind. I give her gifts. I reply right away. And yet she treats me like I don't even exist. He was frustrated. And maybe you've been through this too. No matter how much effort you put in, it feels like you're always chasing and never being noticed. This reminded me of something I saw recently. A guy walked into a bar. He wasn't the best looking or the best dressed. But within minutes, he had women's attention. And you know what caught my eye? He wasn't even trying to impress anyone. He wasn't trying to be the center of attention. Yet somehow he was. And I asked myself, what was he doing differently? What separates the men who naturally attract women from those who go unnoticed? That's when I decided to find answers. I researched, observed real-life situations, and talked to female friends to understand what truly creates attraction. And you know what I discovered? It has nothing to do with expensive gifts, compliments, or a perfect appearance. The answer is much simpler and far more powerful. The crazy part? Most men have no idea about this. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to show you what actually makes a woman feel genuine attraction for a man. It's not what you think, and in fact, you might be making a mistake without even realizing it. That mistake could be sabotaging you. Want to know how to turn things around? Stay with me, because what comes next could change everything. Have you ever felt invisible? Like, no matter what you do, women just don't notice you, while other guys, without even trying, stand out effortlessly? This happens more often than you think. And most of the time, the first thought that comes to mind is, it must be because I don't have the money, the looks, or the ideal height. But if that were the case, how do you explain ordinary guys dating incredible women? The problem is that most men have been taught to seduce women the wrong way. Since childhood, you've been told to be super nice, to please, to do everything for a woman, hoping that this will make her choose you. But in reality, that almost never creates attraction. Maybe you've noticed that many women reject the nice guys and are drawn to men who don't seem so eager to please. There's a reason for this, and it's not a coincidence. Now, I'm not saying you need to be rude or act like a jerk to attract women. Not at all. But if you're constantly trying to convince, please, or prove your worth, you become predictable and lose that sense of mystery. And female desire doesn't work that way. Women are drawn to emotions, to challenges, to men who have interesting lives and who aren't constantly chasing them. Now, think about this. What if the secret wasn't about doing more, but about doing things differently? What if, instead of trying to win her over, you created a situation where she simply couldn't ignore you? Sounds bold? Maybe, but that's exactly what I want to show you. And before we continue, there's something important you need to understand. One key detail that could change everything about how you view attraction. A lot of men think they need to constantly prove they're amazing to win over a woman. They try to impress with stories, show off their achievements, give exaggerated compliments, and go out of their way to seem like the perfect guy. But you know what the problem with this is? The very act of trying to prove something already shows insecurity. And insecurity is a major turnoff. What truly makes a woman feel attracted isn't what you have or what you do for her, it's how you behave around her. The men who naturally spark interest aren't worried about seeking validation. They don't try to convince anyone that they're valuable because they already know they are. They don't try hard to impress because they understand that their worth isn't defined by a woman's opinion. And this quiet confidence, this sense of ease, creates an irresistible magnetism. Women pick up on this without you having to say a word. When you stop seeking approval, you automatically become more attractive. But here's where many guys mess up. When they realize that trying to impress doesn't work, they swing to the opposite extreme. They start completely ignoring women or try to act like a forced bad boy. But being a high-value man doesn't mean being arrogant or cold. The secret is balance. You need to value yourself, know what you want, and at the same time, be natural, without anxiety about the outcome. Now, think about this. What if, instead of seeking acceptance, you became the kind of man women naturally want to be around? Most guys don't know how to do this and end up making mistakes that kill attraction without even realizing it. But I'm going to show you exactly what those mistakes are and how to avoid them. Many men believe they need to impress a woman to win her over. So they talk about their achievements, try to prove they're different, and assure her that they can give her everything she wants. But ironically, the more they try to seem amazing, the less attractive they become. Why? Because it comes across as forced. Women can tell when a guy is selling himself as a great catch, and that gives off insecurity. True connection doesn't happen because you say you're special. It happens because she naturally feels it when she's around you. Another classic mistake is being predictable. Most guys follow the same tired script. Obvious compliments, the same boring questions, repetitive dates. But female desire doesn't thrive on monotony. Women are drawn to the unexpected, to the feeling that there's always something new to discover. If everything about you is already served on a silver platter, attraction fades. Creating mystery doesn't mean hiding who you are. It means maintaining a certain level of unpredictability that makes her want to know more and more about you. And here comes the fatal mistake: excessive availability. A lot of people think that to win over a woman, they need to always be present, reply quickly, and constantly show interest. But this has the opposite effect. Anything that comes too easily loses value. If you're always available and don't show that you have a life of your own, she feels no need to make any effort to have you. There's a reason why rare things are more valuable. When something isn't always within reach, people desire it more. The truth is, the more you chase her, the more she pulls away. But here's the detail that almost no one notices. It's not about playing games or pretending not to care. The key is shifting your mindset so that your presence becomes special, something she wants to earn. But how do you do this naturally? The first thing you need to understand is that a man without purpose doesn't create attraction. If your life revolves around pleasing or winning over women, you automatically put yourself at a disadvantage. Women feel drawn to men who have goals, passions, and an interesting lifestyle. This doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire or famous. It means you should be busy becoming the best version of yourself. When you're growing, learning, and challenging yourself, attraction happens naturally. The second crucial point is how you communicate. Many guys talk too much about themselves, try to impress, or sell themselves as a great catch. But the real key is making a woman feel understood. A simple detail can change any conversation. Saying, "I understand." When a woman realizes that you truly pay attention and value what she says, it creates an instant connection. Instead of trying to prove something, focus on showing genuine interest in what she thinks and feels. Attraction doesn't come from what you say. It comes from how she feels when she's around you. Also, women make decisions based on emotion, not logic. This means that trying to convince her that you're an amazing guy won't work. She needs to feel it. The way you carry, a conversation, your posture, your tone of voice, even your gaze. All of it makes a difference. When you trigger the right emotions, she feels drawn to you without even knowing why. And finally, attracting a woman is just the beginning. The real secret is keeping that attraction alive. A common mistake is becoming predictable and always available once you have her interest. The ideal approach is to maintain a bit of mystery and create a balance where she also feels the need to win you over. This doesn't mean being cold or distant, but showing that you have an interesting life beyond her. Women show interest in subtle ways: a lingering glance, a casual touch, a well-timed smile. If you learn to recognize these signals and respond with confidence, the dynamic of attraction shifts completely. So, how do you know if women are starting to see you differently? The answer is in the small details. The first sign is when they start reaching out to you first. If you are always the one texting and starting conversations, but now you notice that she's taking the initiative, that's a major shift. And trust me, Women never do this by accident. If she feels your presence is special and that you're not available 24/7, she naturally starts investing more in you. Another clear sign is when conversations flow effortlessly. Before, it felt like you had to work hard to keep her interested, right? But now, the dialogue just happens. She replies quickly, asks about you, and shares details about her life without you having to push anything. This happens because when attraction is real, there's no need to force anything. Everything flows naturally. If you notice that interactions have become lighter and more fun, you're on the right track. And there's more. You'll start noticing that women react to you differently. Suddenly, they seem more curious, more engaged in conversations, they laugh more than before, and pay closer attention to what you say. This happens because your energy has changed. You no longer give off that anxious need to please. You've become a man who has options, who values himself, and who doesn't need to beg for attention. And this quiet confidence is incredibly attractive. If you've already noticed these signs, congratulations. This means you don't just understand what works, you're already applying it effortlessly. But what if you still feel like something is missing? Well, there's a hidden detail in the female mind that can completely change the way a woman sees you. And once you understand it, everything shifts. At this point, you've realized that attraction works in a completely different way than most men assume. And now, I want to ask you a question. What if there was a psychological trigger that, once activated, made a woman unable to stop thinking about you? I'm not talking about games or cheap tricks. There's a hidden detail in the female mind that few men know about. But once you understand it, the way women see you changes completely. Think about it. Have you ever seen a woman become completely fascinated by a guy who, at first glance, had nothing special? Someone who wasn't the most handsome or the richest, yet somehow she wanted to be with him at all costs? This doesn't happen by luck or coincidence. That guy, whether consciously or not, activated a powerful trigger that sparked an irresistible desire in her. And the good news? Any man can learn how to do this. If you want to understand how this works and find out why some men generate this kind of intense attraction effortlessly, I have something special to show you. But I'll warn you now, this information isn't for just anyone. It's not for those looking for easy shortcuts or superficial tricks. If your goal is to manipulate or just test it out of curiosity, don't waste your time. But if you genuinely want to understand female emotions and build deep connections, the next step is in the first pinned comment. And if you enjoyed this video and want to keep growing, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you'll find content that won't just transform your love life, but also the way you see yourself as a man. And now, if you want to discover this secret that could change everything, you already know where to click.